and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Susan Bechara. Welcome to my show, Get to the Point. For some of you who are first-time viewers, I want to explain a little bit about how I came up with that title. In America, the Constitution of America is very important. We live by the Constitution, not the Constitution live by us. And one of the things about this show is to highlight our First Amendment right and our Second Amendment right, all the rights that was written. But the most important one is the First Amendment right for every American citizen to have the right to express themselves and speak from the heart and tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. It is not to be judged by another human being, because we are a nation under God, and only God can judge what we say in our heart. The Second Amendment also teaches us that we have the right to bear arms to protect ourselves when there is no other people to protect our family and our property. But it is not to go ahead and kill somebody just because you disagree with them. Then we have the freedom of religion. That means this is one country that welcomes everyone who comes to look for freedom and to be able to worship their God freely without being afraid to be persecuted. Then we also have the freedom of what we call the press. I hope some of those, I wouldn't call it mainstream anymore, some of the press out there that is very one-sided in their stories should remember their amendment right. They're being protected to tell the truth on both sides, not to take sides. That is not their job to do that. So this is what the show is all about. You don't have to agree what I say. That's why I said it's get to the point in telling the truth, how you feel about certain topics, political views, whatever view you want to look at. Abortion, gay marriages, things that are very controversial, and sometimes for years now, America has turned out to be very scared to tell the truth. We felt like we're going to have enemies out there, people threatening us when we start telling the truth. Basically, we're watering down the First Amendment right. So that with the election coming up right now in less than a month, and with the vice presidential debates that is going to be coming tonight, I just want to share a little bit about some of the critical topics that I feel is important to address. Not to try to persuade you to vote one way or another, because I have a mind of my own, and I'm going to vote what my conscience tells me to vote. And I'm not afraid to say, because as a Christian, I believe that life begins in the womb. So you know that already. So am I supposed to be a Trump supporter? Oh, yes, because I have a president who supports life. Then we talk about marriages, and then we have the Supreme Court, Amy, that is going to be a discussion again, and just all over the place, the riots, the fire. The sad part is that lately, since our president was voted into office by the majority of American people, many who disagreed with him, and also those who disagree with the party, has turned out to be very hateful. And this is why we have this problem in our nation today. We can point fingers left and right because we have so much hate in our heart and we are expressing it through emotion It's going out of control. When hate is being built in the hearts of the human nature, then violence will be giving birth to. So today I want to share a little bit about my belief and those who are Christians out there. It's easy to agree with those who agree with you. The hard part is when we have to be civil and to be able to disagree respectfully. So let me just highlight a few things, what my faith had taught me. Not because just my faith, I lived it. And many of you who have not seen this show before, just so you know, I was born in Hong Kong, China. I was raised in Indonesia, which is very populated with the Muslim religion. So my life has been very interesting. I have also been a victim of sexual abuse. I'm also a survivor of cancer. And recently, I'm also a survivor of COVID-19. And the most beautiful thing of all is I'm also guilty of abortion. When I was young, at a very teenage years, those were the wild days. So basically, I'm sharing something that I've experienced in my life. And the reason why I'm so much into the Lord and why I'm a Christian, I am a Catholic, but I'm a Christian first, as a follower of Jesus Christ, is because after reading the Bible, not because someone convinced me to read it, I have my own mind. I started to believe that life does begin during conception. So these are some verses for some of you that are not believers, or maybe you are in a different religion. Like me, in my own family, I have Buddhists, I have Muslim, I have atheism, I have all kinds of family members who has a different faith, but we're still family. This is what America is about. So if you don't mind, I want to share what the scripture said about life, what convinced me that life does begin in the womb. If you have the Bible or you never read it, and those of you who said, what is she trying to do in this show? Preach religion? No, I'm just saying if you don't believe in what I'm talking about, look at the Bible as a book, just like you read all kinds of books. Just read it as a book. But if it hits your conscience, then there must be something that touches your heart. You see, we can get all the education we want, we can have wisdom of the books all we want and all the knowledge. But if you don't educate the heart, you will learn nothing. It's all empty. And then there's an argument out there saying that science is more truthful than religion or faith. That is not true. Science and religion are actually should be partners, because science actually tells the truth that there is a God. Even Einstein says that. So let me tell you where life begins. Human life. If you try to look at the book of the Bible, and don't forget this too, the Bible wasn't written in the 20th century, it wasn't written in the 19th century, it was written over 2,000 years ago. Some of you may argue who wrote it. Of course, it's somebody who wrote it, but how was it written? We can argue all we want, but the fact of the matter is, it's up to the individual. If you don't believe in anything, it's going to be tough for you to live. If you think that this world is just where you are, you will die. And I told you guys before in my show, I would rather die even if there is no God. I would rather die doing the best that I can to love another human being, because my faith is in the book of the Bible that taught me how to love, how to forgive, how to not judge other people. But what if the truth is true that there is a heaven and there is a hell? I would rather live my life knowing that I go to heaven. This is why we need to practice that. We need to practice what the Bible taught us, if anything at all, on how to treat one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. This is what America is about, to be our brothers and sisters' keepers. But we're not doing that anymore. And both sides are as guilty. I will tell you that. It says in the book of Job, chapter 10, verse 12. This is from the Old Testament. Some people said, well, you're practicing the Old Testament. Jesus didn't say that. Some of you mentioned that abortion was never mentioned in the Bible. Some of you say these Christians are crazy. That was never mentioned. Or gay marriages was never mentioned. Well, let me tell you something. God may not say the word abortion. He may not say gay marriages, but it is written. So don't try to water it down and be in denial. Okay, the truth is the truth. So the book says, in the book of Job, you gave me life and showed me kindness, and in your providence watch over my spirit. See, we're spirit being. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pastures. Life is a gift of God. It should be cherished, it should be nourished, and to be protected. God also described the fetus, which is the baby, in the womb as a growing human being. And that's why if you want to point a finger and say these Christians are very crazy, they're pro-life, and they're not thinking straight, and they're not going to budge or compromise, we can't compromise something that we believe in. There's no compromise, but there's no hate. And that's why I don't believe bombing the abortion clinic, getting violent with people who wanted to have abortion. I don't agree with that. That's too radical for me. But we have the right to speak the truth and try to educate people who are contemplating abortion or who has had abortion so that they don't go throughout life feeling guilty like I did for years until I realized somebody introduced me to the Bible and to really get to know my Jesus, that I began to see what it's all about, with kindness, with understanding. But it is also up to me. I have the choice to believe what they're trying to share and what I'm reading and make my own choices. God sees unborn children as growing human beings. As you can see in the following verses of the Bible that I want to share, we don't have to wonder what God thinks about life in the womb and abortion. If he considers unborn children to be human beings, or what the Bible says about abortion, whether you are a Christian, a member of another religion, or an unbeliever, may these verses speak to your heart. Like I told you, the heart has to be educated first before you can think wisely and openly. Be open-minded. Did not he who made me in the womb makes them? This is also from Job. Did not the same one form us both within our mothers? Yet you brought me out of the womb. You made me trust in you even at my mother's breast. From birth I was cast upon you. From my mother's womb you have been my God. That is from Psalm 22:10. For you, and this is the most famous one from David, Psalm 139. I praise you because I fearfully and wonderfully made. Your work is wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body all the days, that means from fetus all the way to being ready to be born. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. This is also from Isaiah, my favorite. This is also my favorite here that says, this is what the Lord says. He who made you, who formed you in the womb, and he who will help you. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all you have remained of the house of Israel, of whom I have upheld you since you were conceived, and have carried since your birth. Even to your old age and gray hair, I am he. I am he who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. That is from Isaiah 46. And then from Isaiah 49. He who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him and gathered Israel to himself. For I am honored in the eyes of the Lord, and my God has been my strength. And Jeremiah 1:4-5. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I was formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So each of us has a responsibility. God is not a perfecter of persons. God does not pay favoritism. It is up to us what we want to use the gift that he's given us. And this is where America is, the freedom to choose, the freedom to speak the truth. But these days, we can't even speak about the truth anymore. It's so sensitive about racism, about abortion, about gay marriages. Let me tell you, my whole life, since I started my ministry 33 years ago, I work with what we call the underdogs, or you could say the losers, criminals, juveniles, prostitutes. But God says it in the Bible. This is what you don't understand. The book of the Bible is broken down into two parts. The Old Testament are people who never see God. They don't understand what God's purpose for humanity. And that's why they fail all the time. From the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. Where do you think sodomites comes from, the word Sodom? There you go. That's how sodomites came about. It's from the city of Sodom. The New Testament is God's mercy towards us because he saw his children going crazy like today, not knowing what God is all about, do not understand the character of God, do not understand his personality. So what did he do? He sent his only begotten son. He himself became man among us to be born of a woman and live among us for 33 years, and we kill him. It hasn't changed much. We killed him. So if Jesus was to come again today, I bet you unbelievers and haters out there is going to do the same thing again. So if you're a Christian out there, don't be a weak Christian. You got to stand up for your rights, but with love, but stand your ground. Stand your ground. Don't compromise your faith. You can't convince everybody, but that's what makes America great, is because we have freedom of speech. We are free to worship our God. Hello, people. That's what it means. So why don't we use it? These days, I notice that everybody is too afraid to speak the truth. Sometimes I invited a lot of politicians to come to my show, or those who are running for office. They don't want to show up. You know why? Because they feel like maybe my show is too controversial. I don't know. I invited people who stood up for abortion, who stood up for gay marriages. I want them to come to my show so we have a good discussion. They don't come to my show. So what are you afraid of? We're just telling the truth. I mean, we may disagree, but the truth is the truth. If that's what you believe, I will respect your belief. But you're not going to convince me to believe what your belief is, and I'm not going to try to force you to believe what I believe in. But at the end of the day, just remember, we're only here on this earth temporarily. We will go somewhere after death. And I'm hoping that one day we will all go to heaven. That's my goal. Now, I don't know about you. Okay, I'm not trying to save the whole world, like Mother Teresa said. One individual who chooses to look at the book. Like I said again, I'm not telling you to be all biblical and spiritual and go into the Jesus thing. Why are you afraid to read the Bible? Just consider it just a book for you to read if you're unbelievers. Take it as a book to read. And then from there, then you can have a discussion. But don't be so emotional and start hating, arguing the facts, and trying to be all right and all that. This is why this is scary. The way politicians are these days, they're getting to be too bitter with one another. Our president happens to be one of us. Whether you like him or not, whether you like his personality or not, he is who he is. He's not going to be bought to be politically correct. We didn't vote him to be politically correct. We didn't vote him to be just another politician in Washington, D.C. We voted for him because he's different. He speaks our language. He can be very rash and not able to talk like a politician. That's what I love about him. He's crazy. But he tells the truth. For me, he tells the truth. Some of you wanted to always bash him, saying his behavior is terrible, like a juvenile, and this and that, whatever. He's got so many women and money. What's wrong with that? He earned it. Any of you, like the Bible taught us to, can throw the first stone that you're better than him? No, we just all sin differently, that's all. So why are we bashing him? Even if he sneezes, those who hate him is going to make it a big deal. Just to sneeze. And now with him getting the corona, my goodness, you're giving him so much power that the corona is because of him? No. It's not from him. He's just one of us living on this earth. He gets the corona, like me. I got the corona. Anybody can get it. But it's common sense. Okay? This is a virus that has not been addressed on how to cure it. Just like the flu season. Before we talk about the flu, pneumonia, cancer. The trend now is about corona. The only reason why it becomes so vicious right now is it's political year. So we use that to become politicized. That's all it is. It's a political year. So everything is politicized. Even food is being politicized. Anything we touch is politicized. How terrible. It's so sad that our children has to be exposed to all this. Worse, we're all on a lockdown. So that's all we have is the media to get the news from. So if I were you, parents, if I were you, young people that goes to college, they call it the millennial, please be open-minded. If you can read the book that your professor gave you on facts and stuff, open the Bible. Make it one of the books that you can argue with, if that's what you want, to find the truth about the Bible so that you can argue the facts. But I guarantee you, though, this is just me, because I'm a strong Christian, you will lose because it's the truth. The more you try to figure out God, the more you're going to get confused, period. And then when you do get confused, there's only two ways to go. He doesn't exist, or you're going to say, wow. The more I read, the more mysterious he becomes. But in the Bible, it says God is a mystery. That's why Jesus said, those who follow me, I will open their eyes so they can see the truth. But those who don't, they're blind. Even they see, but they cannot see. They hear, they will not understand me. Only those who put their faith in me will understand what I say and understand what they see. And how do we see? We see love on everyone. We're not weak. Just because we're Christians, we're not weak people. We just don't comprehend. But in America, that's a problem again. We haven't actually been challenged as Christians to the point of death. Whereas in third world countries and everywhere else, when you're a Christian, you are being tried and persecuted for your faith to the point of death. Beheaded, tortured, programmed. That's persecution. America doesn't do that. All we have is a lot of argument and then acting out, burning places, getting out of control. And guess what, people? Those that are fighting, those that are looting, those are destroying people and all that, don't you understand? You are being used by what we call special interests, like Antifa. Okay, and all those socialists like George Soros, okay? George Soros has a lot of money. Money buys people. And you expose yourself by being used by people who manipulate your mind. You may not like what I said, but remember now, I live there. I know how they play mind game. Do you think I could sit here and talk like this and have my own show if I was still in Hong Kong? Most of you will know I will just disappear and most probably persecuted or dead already. So enjoy your freedom in this country. Respect the amendment, First Amendment rights on all people, religion, faith. People have the right to protect themselves if their family is put in danger. It's all twisted. So when you vote this election, vote with your conscience. Don't just go along with anybody telling you this and that. Vote with your conscience. You have a mind of your own. What does your conscience say? What does your parent taught you? What are your values in life? What are those values? I don't think any of us are born here with the value of killing people. I don't believe that. I don't think any parents taught you to kill people, to be haters. But we are in a generation now for the last 40, 50, 60 years since America had Roe versus Wade and all that stuff and divorces starts to come up. The school doesn't address this. They only teach our kids how to read and write, that's all. No morals, no love for nation and all that. No understanding why we have to stand up to the flag of the United States, why we have to pledge allegiance. The school doesn't teach us those things anymore. They watered it down. Absolutely no respect. We are not being taught the right kind of respect. So I'm going to close this for now. And then I also have a guest today. I think some of you may have seen her a few times, especially at Central Valley Talk. She is a rising star in the political field. Get to know her. The mayor of Parlier, Alma Beltran. I'm not trying to advertise her, but I have a lot of respect for this woman. And it's not easy to be a woman. And I don't like to use minority anymore on any Hispanic, blacks, Asian. There is no more minority. We keep using minority. We got to take that out. Everyone is respected. She is of Hispanic heritage. She's a Mexican-American woman. But she loves her country. She has to go through a lot, even in her own family. So let's take a little bit of a break. Thank you very much.
Across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, in New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
With Organic Pastures Raw Milk, you're getting a product that has been meticulously managed from grass to glass. From our pastures to our dairy, creamery, and distribution, we work hard to produce a product that is safe and clean for you.
Got lactose intolerance or dairy allergies? Discover delicious raw milk and discover dairy the way it's supposed to be. We provide tours and would love to see you. Come visit the cows, watch the milking, the cheese being made, and learn all about raw milk. We're just 20 miles south and west of Fresno, California. Call to schedule a tour at 559-846-9732.
Carolco, the Valley's leader for no-cost energy upgrades. Now installing AC motors, Nest thermostats, insulation, and more. COVID-19 safe. Call Carolco at 559-396-3939 and visit carolco.net. Email GaryTorres5336@yahoo.com.
Hey, I'm Chris DeVold. Tune in every Friday night on CentralValleyTalk.com when I bring you Sex, Drugs, Chris DeVold, where I'll give you 3 guesses on what we talk about. And I also vow to bring you 1 live local music act a week. So tune in every week because you never know what kind of music you're going to hear right here on CentralValleyTalk.com.
The Space Colony Journals are an epic tale of a family's struggle to survive. Meet the courageous women and dangerous men who dare to carve a home on the alien world of Venzug. Get your copy today. Available on Amazon and GaleDailiesFineArt.com.